So today I am going to talk about the topic erythropoiesis. So basically erythropoiesis comes from the word which is called as step 1 hemopoiesis. So what happens in hemopoiesis? Basically the stem cells are responsible for the process of hemopoiesis, which means the formation of blood, right? Poiesis means formation and hemo means blood. So stem cells are basically responsible for the formation of blood, and these stem cells are found in one place and in only one place in adults, that is called as the bone marrow in case of adults. The stem cells, or I would say the site of blood synthesis, that is the bone marrow in case of neonates or in the embryo, the blood sites are multiple like thymus, spleen, the yolk sac. So there are multiple sites for the formation of blood in a neonate or in an embryo. In the case of an adult, bone marrow is the only site responsible for the formation of blood in which the stem cells form the blood, right? So bone marrow is the ultimate site in adults which has stem cells which is responsible for formation of blood. So in bone marrow, adults after the age of 5 years, all the bones are not responsible for formation of bone marrow. Beyond the age of 5 years, there are only flat bones which are responsible for the formation of blood. That too, very limited of them. The flat bones, the skull bones, and the proximal epiphysis. So proximal epiphysis is the proximal end of the bone, which is the site. If we say this is a bone, then this is the site which has red bone marrow, and this red bone marrow is having stem cells. So now I'm literally talking about how it happens in adults. So this is the bone, this has the red bone marrow site which has stem cells which are responsible for formation of blood. So now there are certain hormonal involvement which is responsible for increasing the blood formation in an adult, and let's talk about the hormones now. So there are three hormones. If I literally mention it here, there's one hormone which is called as EPO or erythropoietin. Then there is one hormone which is called as thyroxine, which is also involved in the formation of blood cells. Then there is one hormone which is called as testosterone, which is responsible for increasing the formation of blood. So how are these related in ultimately formation of blood? That is what I'll be talking about. So this is the major one. So let's talk about the erythropoietin or EPO and how is this related. So let's place it here. So EPO is basically this is if I say a kidney, right? So EPO basically is released and is hitting the kidneys, as well as it is also released from the liver, right? So kidney is the site which is acting as a monitor to detect if there is any decrease in the oxygen content or the oxygen carrying capacity of blood. So if this happens, if kidney detects there is a decrease in oxygen carrying capacity, it immediately starts secreting EPO, which is called as the erythropoietin. When erythropoietin is released, EPO increases the capacity of stem cells to increase the formation of red blood cells. And how is red blood cell formed from stem cells? That is an entirely different story which I'll be talking about in stepwise process of erythropoiesis. This is moreover where the site blood cells are formed and the hormonal involvement. So EPO is increasing the stem cell activity to increase the formation of RBC. So there is one cell which is the precursor cell which leads to the formation of RBC, which is called as proerythroblast, right? So these cells are the precursor cells. And what do you mean by precursor? Precursor means something which is an immature cell and which is responsible for forming a mature cell. So stem cell first forms proerythrocyte, then it forms the RBC. Again, it's a 5-step process I'll be talking about in the next lecture. So stem cells leads to the formation of RBC. This process is increased or heightened or fastened when there is an increased amount of EPO. So why is EPO released? First of all, EPO is released under 3 conditions. Whenever there is a hormonal change, which I'll talk about in detail, whenever there is a decrease in blood volume, and whenever there is a decrease in oxygen carrying capacity. So decrease in oxygen carrying capacity usually happens under anaerobic condition, or whenever there's an asphyxia condition, or you say you are traveling on a high altitude where the different pressures make your blood carry lesser oxygen to different parts of the body. So lesser oxygen reaches different parts of the body, so the body thinks there is less oxygen reaching in the body, so there might be a fault in the red blood cells, so it starts increasing or secreting EPO, which directly leads the stem cell to secrete more and more RBC. Now what happens with the blood volume? This is a case of accident. It could be an accidental case, excessive blood loss from the body, or any other condition where blood is not appropriately formed or is lost from the body. Third condition is a hormonal change. The hormones which are secreted are directly increasing the EPO synthesis, which again are increasing the stem cell process, which are increasing the formation of RBC. So how this happens and what all hormones are released are basically involved in increasing the RBC formation. So these are the 2 hormones I already mentioned, like testosterone and thyroxine. Right? These 2 hormones are responsible for increasing the formation of RBC indirectly, because first thyroxine and next is testosterone. So thyroxine is basically responsible, this hormone is responsible for increasing the ATP production, and ATP production can only be increased when there would be aerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration would only be possible when there would be increase in oxygen supply, right? So how it can increase the oxygen supply? Sorry, this is the wrong one. Increase in oxygen supply, increase in oxygen carrying capacity. So this can only happen when there would be more number of red blood cells, and this can only be happen when there would be more number of proerythroblasts. This can only happen when kidneys will start secreting EPO. This can only happen when thyroxine stimulates the release of EPO, right? And testosterone has the function of increasing the amount of thyroxine levels in the body. So indirectly testosterone is increasing the thyroxine levels. Thyroxine is responsible for more ATP secretion, so it directs EPO release increased. EPO is released, which direct the stem cells to form more proerythroblasts. More proerythroblasts means more RBC formation. More RBC formation means increased oxygen carrying capacity. So this was the entire process of erythropoiesis on the basis of a hormonal level. So in different lectures I'll be talking about what is blood doping, what is the entire stepwise process of erythropoiesis, which is a 5-step process. So this process actually takes this formation of RBC. This is a 2 to 3 weeks process.